Okay. I got another idea. How about this? Give me the answers, and I'll try to guess what the question was. Well, don't laugh. They have a TV show called Jeopardy. That's what they do. Maybe I can win a trip to the Bahamas. Or... Okay, going nowhere here. First question, Sheikh, why do you look so cute on TV? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're coming to you live right now from Darul Falah, the Masjid of Success. That's right, the place of success right here in Tustin, California. We're just a little bit east and south of Los Angeles, California, and Hollywood and all those great places. And usually we don't play with the lights while we're on the air, but this is our first go-around, so we're going to excuse ourselves for that one. Anyway, also we want to tell you that we have some very special program coming up right now. We have Sheikh Farhan is going to be reading to us and explaining to us in English language now to understand the Quran, chapter 26. I think we're going to be talking about the poets, right?
Exactly.
And we're excited about that. Following that, we're going to be talking about the bomb that went off in Minneapolis and what one of the president's aides said about that. I think you want to stay tuned and hear and enjoy the tafsir of Surah, how do you say it?
Shu'ara.
Shura?
Shu'ara.
Shu'ara?
Mm-hmm.
That means the poets, the plural of one poet.
Exactly.
Yeah, what's one poet?
Sha'ir.
Sha'ir.
Mm-hmm.
And what is poetry?
Shi'run.
Shi'run. You know all of that stuff, huh? MashaAllah. That's a real sheikh here. All right, stay tuned. MashaAllah.
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. All thanks and praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may His peace and blessings be upon His last and final messenger, His family, His companions, and those who follow them until the end of times. So alhamdulillah, last week we were able to cover the meanings and lessons of verses 23 till 37. And inshallah tonight the plan is to cover the meanings and lessons of verses 38 till 48. So just as a really quick reminder, we are still in the middle of an episode from the life of Musa alayhi salam, specifically his encounter with Fir'aun and his magicians. So last week we were discussing this tense conversation that took place between Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun. This really tense and adversarial back and forth that took place between both of them. So imagine yourselves in the position of Musa alayhi salam. He's standing in front of the most powerful ruler on the face of the earth during his time, an oppressive tyrant, someone who claimed to be a Lord the Most High. This is the man who enslaved an entire generation and killed off generations of male children. So imagine the emotions, imagine the feelings that must have been running through Musa alayhi salam. But he turned towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sought His help and assistance, and he placed his complete trust and reliance in Allah. So this is a perfect example of tawakkul, what reliance and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks like in the real world. And that's why he was able to stand in front of Fir'aun with confidence, with strength, with courage, with firmness and steadfastness. So he invited Fir'aun and his people towards belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone without any partners. And he demanded that he free the people of Bani Israel. And as we covered last week, Fir'aun, he responded initially with an air of disbelief, with arrogance, with pride and sarcasm. So he responded to Musa alayhi salam initially with extreme harshness, with contempt, with disdain, scorn, and a hint of sarcasm. At first he replied to Musa alayhi salam and he said, "How dare you come before me and speak like this? Who are you to come before me, the most powerful ruler on the face of this earth, and make such demands?" And then he mockingly asked Musa alayhi salam about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he asked Musa alayhi salam the question, وَمَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ? And what exactly is this Lord of the worlds? I have never heard of this before. I don't know what you're talking about. So please explain to me what Rabbul Alameen means actually. So Musa alayhi salam, as we covered last week, he responded with a very eloquent, a very beautiful answer. And he described Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with three unique attributes. So the first thing Musa alayhi salam told us is رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا إِن كُنْتُم مُوقِنِينَ. That Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds, is the Lord of the heavens and the earth and whatever is between them. So Musa alayhi salam, he's highlighting ar-rububiyyah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of this entire universe, that He alone created this entire universe and every single thing it contains without any help, without any assistance, without any partners. And that He alone deserves to be worshipped. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is the one who nurtures all of creation, who sustains all of creation, who gives all of creation every single thing that it needs to survive and be successful. So He is رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا. And then the second description He gave was رَبُّكُمْ وَرَبُّ آبَائِكُمُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. That your Lord, Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds, He's your Lord and He's the Lord of those people who came before you as well. Meaning He's the Lord of your ancestors, He's the Lord of your forefathers. So you have no lordship, you have no power, authority and control. The real control, the real authority and power lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the last description He gave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا. That He is the Lord of the East and the West and whatever lies in between them. And in addition to making such irrefutable, powerful and beautiful statements regarding the existence and might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Musa alayhi salam then showed him those two miracles, those two physical manifestations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power and might. So all of us, we know that Musa alayhi salam was given these two unique miracles. One of them that he would throw his staff on the ground and it would turn into this huge serpent. And the second was that he would press his right hand to his left side, and when he would bring it out, it would be shining like a bright light. So Musa alayhi salam, he showed both of these things to Fir'aun and all of the people that were in his court. And when everyone saw these two things, they were absolutely mesmerized. They were absolutely amazed. I mean, imagine yourself in that place, in that time, that you see someone throwing a staff on the ground and it turns into this huge serpent. And you see someone's hand shining like a bright light. So both of these miracles, they were undeniable proofs of the existence, the might, the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they were proof that Musa alayhi salam was definitely a messenger and that he was telling the truth. So these two miracles, they obviously had a very powerful effect on whoever witnessed them. So Fir'aun himself, this tyrant, this arrogant, proud person, this oppressive tyrant, he was affected himself. But his ministers, his council, the people around him, they were also affected. And Fir'aun knew that he was now in a position of weakness. That literally, I have no rational argument to make. And on top of that, Musa alayhi salam is bringing forth these miracles. Things that no human being has the ability to do. So he had to do or say something that would lessen the effect of the miracles so that he could hold on to his positions of power and authority. So he resorted to false accusations. So instead of accepting belief and accepting faith, he decided to call Musa alayhi salam a sorcerer. He accused him of being a magician and that he's using his powers, he's using his magic to steal power and authority in the kingdom from Fir'aun. So he accused Musa alayhi salam of being a sorcerer who wants to seize power, authority and kingdom for himself. And this is mentioned in Surah Taha, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that Fir'aun himself says, قَالَ أَجِئْتَنَا لِتُخْرِجَنَا مِنْ أَرْضِنَا بِسِحْرِكَ يَا مُوسَى. That have you come to us to drive us out of our land with your magic, O Musa. So basically again he's accusing him that you're using your magical powers, you're using your sorcery to remove me from my seat of power, from my seat of authority. You want the throne, you want the kingdom all for yourself. And in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, the author rahimahullah, he writes that Fir'aun said, this is magic that you have brought to us to bewitch us and conquer the people so that they will follow you. Then you will outnumber us. So the reality is that Fir'aun was scared and he was frightened by what he saw. So he assembled all of his advisors, he assembled all of his council, and he asked them how to deal with this threat that's being posed by Musa alayhi salam. So after discussing it, they assured Fir'aun that it wasn't as serious or threatening as it seemed. That you shouldn't be too scared, you shouldn't be too worried. This powerful kingdom, you as a powerful individual, have the ability to conquer Musa, to overcome this challenge. And they agreed that Musa and Harun alayhimus salam, they were magicians who wanted to deprive him of his kingdom through their magic. So they advised that he should gather all of the greatest magicians living in Egypt to battle against Musa alayhi salam. So that was their advice to Fir'aun, that instead of doing anything to them, instead of having them executed, instead of kicking them out of Egypt, why don't you gather all of the most skilled, the most powerful magicians in Egypt and challenge them to a competition, challenge them to a duel. And if you bring all of these magicians, they will be able to overpower Musa alayhi salam, and then no one will listen to him, no one will follow him. So Fir'aun, he agreed to this. And he challenged Musa alayhi salam to a competition or a duel. And Musa alayhi salam against all of the most powerful and skilled magicians of Egypt. So he let Musa alayhi salam choose the time, the place, and the location. So he actually gave this decision to Musa alayhi salam, that you get to choose the time and the place as well. And this is the point of the story where Surah Al-Shu'ara now picks up from. That's where we have reached in the surah. So before proceeding, we will read the verses themselves like we do every single week. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فجمع السحرة لميقات يوم معلوم وقيل للناس هل أنتم مجتمعون لعلنا نتبع السحرة إن كانوا هم الغالبين فلما جاء السحرة قالوا لفرعون أئن لنا لأجرا إن كنا نحن الغالبين قال نعم وإنكم إذا لمن المقربين قال لهم موسى ألقوا ما أنتم ملقون فألقوا حبالهم وعصيهم وقالوا بعزة فرعون إنا لنحن الغالبون فألقى موسى عصاه فإذا هي تلقف ما يأفكون فألقي السحرة ساجدين قالوا آمنا برب العالمين رب موسى وهارون. Sorry, this mic just fell off, so I'm going to clip it back on. Alright, so we see now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is painting the scene for us. Right, He's making this scene of this battle, this competition that's going to take place between the sorcerers and Musa alayhi salam. So we see the sorcerers assembled and the people gathering in large numbers to watch this great competition, this great duel. And the stage is now ready for the battle between truth and falsehood. So this is like a live, practical example of this battle, this struggle between haqq and batil. And this is a battle that has existed since the beginning of humanity. And this is a battle that is always going to exist. That faith will always be against disbelief. And that truth will always be against falsehood. Light will always be against darkness. So when now we see divine faith, we see its true power and how it's going to be used to defeat tyranny, to defeat oppression, and to defeat disbelief. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَجُمِعَ السَّحْرَةُ أَجْمَعِينَ, that all of the sorcerers, they were gathered together. So the sorcerers were assembled at the time on an appointed day. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the wording uses, فَجُمِعَ السَّحَرَةُ لِمِيقَاتِ يَوْمٍ مَعْلُومٍ, that the sorcerers were gathered at the set time on an appointed day. So the most skilled, the most powerful magicians were assembled during the mid-morning on the day of their celebration, the day of their festival. And that is the time and day that Musa alayhi salam chose himself. And we're told about this choice in Surah Taha, that Musa alayhi salam said, قَالَ مَوْعِدُكُمْ يَوْمُ الزِّينَةِ وَأَن يُحْشَرَ النَّاسُ ضُحًى, that your appointment is on the day of the festival, يَوْمُ الزِّينَةِ. So يَوْمُ الزِّينَةِ was one of the festivals that the people of Egypt celebrated during that time. So Musa alayhi salam, based upon great wisdom, he chose this to be the day of the appointment. Because this would be the day when most people would be free. They wouldn't be working. And they would be able to come and witness this competition with their own two eyes. When the people assembled at the mid-morning. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he mentions that there were 72 magicians that were gathered. So فَجُمِعَ السَّحَرَةُ, that the number of the magicians was up to 72. And during this time, magic was extremely popular. So there were many magicians that were extremely skillful and powerful. And this is something we notice with all the stories of the different prophets. that in each of these eras there was a very popular science, there was a very popular craft or trade that people were involved with. So for example, when we look to the life of the Prophet ﷺ, the people, the Arabs of that time, they prided themselves in the craft of poetry, of composing the most beautiful, the most eloquent, the most powerful poetry that people could not match, that its eloquence was unbeatable. So the Prophet ﷺ was given a miracle that outdid that craft. So when you look towards the time of Isa alayhi, they say medicine was something that was very popular. So Isa alayhi, he was given these miracles of being able to cure the sick, to cure the blind, to cure the leper. And then we have the time of Musa alayhi, where magic and sorcery are very powerful. It's considered to be a very well-respected craft, a very well-respected profession. So he was given a miracle that outdid that. He was given this miracle of the staff being thrown and being turned into a serpent. And it's narrated that Fir'aun, he decided to gather in this place and he set up his throne. And his advisors, they set up in a row in front of him, and his guards were standing to his right and his left. And then the magicians, they formed lines in front of him. So imagine the scene that's being painted. You have this tyrant, this oppressive ruler sitting on his throne. He's surrounded by his guards. Then he has all of his advisors. Then he has this row of 72 magicians ready to battle against Musa alayhi. And then the narrations mention that Musa alayhi comes walking with his staff, and his brother Harun alayhi is following behind him. So you see this huge disparity in numbers, that you have maybe hundreds and even thousands of people on one side, and then you have Musa and Harun alayhi on the other side. But again, strength is never through numbers. Strength is never through material means. Strength always comes through the assistance, the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That one individual who has absolute trust in Allah can be more powerful than even 100 people that are opposing him. And this is something we see in the life of Musa alayhi salam. So this whole time Fir'aun, he's encouraging the magicians, he's egging them on, and he's promising them wealth, honor, and luxury if they win. That if you're able to defeat Musa, if you're able to overpower him, I will give you positions of authority, I will give you wealth, I will give you money, I will give you power. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this. He says, وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعُ السَّحَرَةَ إِنْ كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ. And it was said to the people, will you gather? Are you going to come? Are you going to attend this competition? لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعُ السَّحَرَةَ إِنْ كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. So that perhaps we may follow the sorcerers if they are victorious. So meaning the people of Egypt were encouraged to come and attend and witness the contest. And Fir'aun, he was overconfident. He wanted as many people as possible to come so that they could witness his magicians winning, and then no one would follow Musa alayhi salam. That if the vast majority of the population came and they saw Musa alayhi salam being defeated, then no one would listen to him, no one would follow him. But at the same time, Musa alayhi salam also wanted the same thing. He wanted as many people as possible to be gathered so that they could witness the might and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They could witness these miracles, and after witnessing the miracles, they would know for sure that Musa alayhi salam is telling the truth. And then they would accept his message, and they would become believers, and they would achieve salvation. So now we have this huge gathering of people ready to witness this epic challenge or competition between Musa alayhi salam and the magicians. And right before the competition begins, the sorcerers ask Fir'aun what their reward will be if they win. And this is an interesting insight into the mindset, the perspective of the magicians. That they were not battling, they weren't dueling against Fir'aun because of some principles that they believed in. They didn't really have any strong belief. They were simply doing it for material gains. They were willing to challenge Musa alayhi salam and obey the orders of Fir'aun just to receive money, just to receive power and authority, to receive positions of influence. And this is a very interesting look or insight into the psychology of these magicians. That they have no faith backing them. They have no principles, they have no guidance. The only thing they were after was material gain, was money and power. So right before the competition begins, they turn towards Fir'aun and they ask him that what is our reward going to be? So Fir'aun again, he promises them wealth and luxury. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ السَّحَرَةُ قَالُوا لِفِرْعَوْنَ أَإِنَّ لَنَا لَأَجْرًا إِن كُنَّا نَحْنُ الْغَالِبِينَ. So then the sorcerers came and they said to Fir'aun, will we have a reward if we are victorious? So أَإِنَّ لَنَا لَأَجْرًا إِن كُنَّا نَحْنُ الْغَالِبِينَ. Will we be given ajr? Will we be given a reward if we are the ones who are victorious? قَالَ نَعَمْ وَإِنَّكُمْ إِذًا لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. So Fir'aun, he said, yes, and you will truly be among those who are close to me. So not only will you be given ajr, not only will you be given this wealth and this material gains, but you will be amongst those who are brought close to me. Meaning I will make you part of my advisory council, I'll make you part of my advisors and the people who are close to me in proximity. So basically Fir'aun, he is promising them that if they win, they will have a seat on his council. So right now we're going to take a short break. So remain guided with Guidus TV. Just a short break, inshallah.
We got some special news. I just found out that someone wanted to enter Islam. So if you don't want to stay and see that, you can go ahead and go. Somebody wanted to enter into Islam. Is it from the sister's side or the brother's side? Who? If you... Tell us your name.
Asra.
MashaAllah, it's very nice to meet you. Now, do you know about Islam?
Just for 3-4 months.
Oh, 3 or 4 months. That's more than I had when I got started. You like Islam?
Yeah.
You believe there's only one God?
I know it's all.
You know it. Don't need to worry about that. And you believe Muhammad is his messenger?
Yeah.
No doubt? Easy. Careful. Good. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, if you change your mind, we have to cut your head off. No. Strike that out. Back to takeoff. I can't believe he said that. All right. And by the way, I'm from Texas. I can't help it. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. It was worth a shot. Another one? Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Woo! So after me, first of all, your name. It's very nice to meet you, and we're excited for you. Are you excited? Okay. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. We are very happy for you. First of all, tell me your name.
Joey.
Again?
Joey?
Joey?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
18 years old?
I'm Indian.
So you don't want to be a Muslim?
I'm sure.
Why?
Alright, we are back with Guidus TV with the poets explaining the meanings and lessons from Surah Ash-Shu'ara. So now we have painted this picture of we have Fir'aun and all of his sorcerers assembled, and they're asking Fir'aun what their reward is going to be if they're victorious. And he tells them that قَالَ نَعَمْ وَإِنَّكُمْ إِذًا لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ, that yes, you will get a reward, and if you win, you will be amongst those who are in close proximity to me. So basically Fir'aun, he's promising them that if they win, they will have a seat on his council, they will be part of his advisors or part of his administration. And being in such a position obviously brings wealth, prosperity, influence, and authority. So when everything was ready, the magicians with a sense of confidence and pride asked Musa a.s. if he wanted to start first or if they should be the ones who start first. And this part of the story, it's also mentioned in Surah Taha. They said, "O Musa, either you throw or we will be the first to throw." So basically the magicians, they're showing some sort of adab. They're showing some sort of character. That they're giving Musa alayhi salam the choice. That if you want, you can start, or if you want, you can allow us to start. So the magicians, they gave Musa alayhi salam the choice. If he wanted, he could start by throwing his miracle, or if he wanted, he could have the magicians go first. And they say that this was a sign of respect and manners from the magicians. It showed that they had good manners and a sense of humility. And some of the commentators, some of the mufassirun, they mention that they were guided to faith, they were guided to iman because of their manners, because of their humility. And this is actually a very important lesson for all of us. That manners, good manners, akhlaq, and especially humility are a source of blessings, they're a source of reward, and they are related to guidance, they are related to faith. And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ told us in several ahadith and several narrations. That أَكْمَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِيمَانًا أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلُقًا. That the believers who have the most complete faith are those who have the best of manners. So this is something that is an important point. That having good manners, having good behavior, having a good disposition and attitude can be a source of blessings, it can be a source of guidance. And it is said that these individuals, these magicians, these sorcerers, who are actually battling against a prophet, they're battling against Musa alayhi salam, they were given guidance because of their good manners, because of their humility. So Musa alayhi salam, based upon some wisdom, he allows the magicians to go first. So here the surah, it illustrates the contest for us and the great events that follow. So قَالَ لَهُمْ مُوسَى أَلْقُوا مَا أَنْتُمْ مُلْقُونَ. Musa alayhi salam, he said to them, throw what you're going to throw. That I give you the first start. You can start off, you can do your magic tricks, and let's see what you got. So there were several reasons for allowing them to go first. The first reason that's mentioned by some of the commentators, some of the mufassirun, is this is also good manners and chivalry. That they showed a level of respect that required Musa alayhi salam to show them an equal level of respect. That when someone treats you with respect and good manners, we should reciprocate. We should treat them with those good manners and respect as well. And secondly, it showed their courage, which requires Musa alayhi salam to show his courage as well. The second reason is by making the offer, the magicians, they showed their confidence in the outcome and implied they had already won. So the magicians were being overconfident. That you know what, we're so confident in our abilities and our skills that we're going to give you the option that you can start or you can let us start. So it's saying Musa alayhi salam had to respond with a similar level of confidence. He had to show them that he also had confidence in his own abilities and his ability to make the truth clear, to manifest the truth. That it doesn't matter who starts first. So by letting them go first, Musa alayhi salam showed an equal amount of confidence. And the third, they say, is he wanted to see their tricks before he planned his own strategy. So this goes part of planning, this is a part of strategy and how to plan things out properly. And this is also a very important lesson for us as well. As the Prophet ﷺ told us, لا عقل كالتدبير. There is no intelligence like planning. So if we have the ability to do so, it's important for us to plan things out and look at the possible outcomes of something before jumping into it. And this is exactly what Musa alayhi salam is teaching us by allowing the magicians to go first. It allowed him to kind of strategize and plan how he's going to make the truth manifest. Alright, so now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that the magicians, they threw إِذَا حِبَالُهُمْ وَعِصِيُّهُمْ يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. That and suddenly their ropes and staffs, they seem to him from their magic that they were moving like snakes. So basically, as soon as they threw the ropes and staffs on the ground, through some sort of illusionary trick, it seemed like these ropes and staffs were moving like a bunch of snakes. So they used their magic tricks to make it appear like the ropes and staffs had turned into snakes and were moving on the ground. And some of the narrations mentioned that they laced the ropes and staffs with mercury or some sort of substance, some sort of chemical that reacts with heat. So these were skilled magicians, and they understood what they were doing. And they understood what illusion they wanted to create. So they laced the ropes with some sort of substance, some sort of chemical that they knew would react with the heat of the ground. So as they threw it on the ground, it would start moving and it would start twirling around, and it would seem like these ropes came to life. So when they threw it on the hot ground, it seemed as if they started moving on their own. And there was a large number of magicians, and all of them did this at the same time. So again, imagine 72 powerful, skillful magicians. They all throw their ropes, they all throw their staffs on the ground at the exact same time. So it seemed as if the entire valley filled with snakes piled on top of one another. So imagine witnessing that again. That would be something that creates a sense of amazement. It creates a sense of awe. And it just so happened that it created a sense of fear in the heart of Musa alayhi salam. And so in Surah Taha, again, we also learn that the sight of so many snakes evoked a sense of fear in Musa alayhi salam. فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. And he seemed within himself apprehension, meaning Musa alayhi salam. So this is another important point to note, that yes, we do believe and accept that the prophets and messengers are the most perfect examples of human beings to walk on the face of this earth. They hold a very special status in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But despite that special status, despite that unique place with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're still human beings. And as human beings, they feel these emotions and they have these feelings, just like we do as human beings. And that's what makes the prophets relatable. That's why we can relate to the lives of every single prophet and messenger that's mentioned in the Qur'an. And we can actually follow in their footsteps. That we know how to respond when we're feeling fear and apprehension. We know how to respond in these certain scenarios and situations. So Musa alayhi salam, he sensed a natural feeling of fear. And this was not a fear of doubt or a fear of losing. Rather, it was a fear that people who had gathered might be deceived by the magic that they just saw. And Ibn Kathir, he also mentions this in his tafsir, in his commentary on the Qur'an. He writes, this means that he feared for the people that they would be tested and deceived by their magic before he could even have a chance to throw what was in his right hand. So he felt this fear, and it was a natural sense of fear that he felt. And again, this teaches us how to respond in certain situations and how to respond when we're feeling that type of fear as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He immediately reassures Musa alayhi salam that do not be scared. You do not have to be scared because you have me on your side. You will have divine help, you will have divine assistance. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. That we said, don't be afraid, don't be scared, because you will be on top. You will be victorious. You are the one who is superior. So don't be afraid, indeed you will overcome them and be victorious. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to throw down his own staff. فَأَلْقَى مُوسَى عَصَاهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَلْقَفُ مَا يَأْفِكُونَ. Then Musa threw his staff. He cast his staff, and behold, it swallowed up what they make falsely. So as soon as he threw his staff down, it turned into a huge serpent that swallowed the valley of illusionary snakes. And Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he mentions that it became this huge monstrous creature with legs, a neck, a head, and fangs. And it went after these ropes and sticks until none of them remained, except that it was devoured and swallowed by this beast. So imagine the sight once again. This is something that is extraordinary. It lies beyond the natural laws of nature. And you have this whole valley, this whole community of people witnessing this with their own eyes. That Musa alayhi salam, who claims to be a prophet, a messenger, he just threw his staff on the ground. And all of a sudden it becomes this monstrous creature. And this creature is devouring all of the fake snakes, all of those ropes and staffs. So imagine what the people felt when they witnessed this. Imagine the emotions and the thoughts that are running through their minds. And what the magicians did is nothing but an illusionary trick. And a magician can never be successful by doing something that is simply a trick of the eye or hand. And these magicians who were experts, masters in their art, they immediately realized that what they just witnessed wasn't magic. They themselves recognized as skilled magicians that what Musa alayhi salam is nothing even close to magic. This is something extraordinary, this is something miraculous. That it was a miracle of a supreme being shown at the hands of Musa alayhi salam. And they realized that no magician, no human could have done what they just witnessed. So they immediately believed and they fell into prostration. That immediately after witnessing this, they fell down into sajda, into submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what Allah mentions next. فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سَاجِدِينَ. Then the sorcerers fell down in prostration. And this fa in the verse, this letter, this harf fa, it gives the meaning of immediately. Like without any hesitation, within a moment, they immediately fell down into prostration. فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سَاجِدِينَ قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And they said, we have certainly believed in the Lord of the worlds. رَبِّ مُوسَى وَهَارُونَ. The Lord of Musa and Harun alayhi salam. And the wording that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selects in the Quran is also very unique, it's very beautiful. That when Musa alayhi salam came to Fir'aun, he told him about Rabbul Alameen. He didn't mention the name Allah, he didn't mention the word God. He said, believe in Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds. And this is what Fir'aun asked Musa alayhi salam as well. وَمَا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And who is the Lord of the worlds? And then we studied last week how Musa alayhi salam described who Rabbul Alameen is. That He is the Rabb of the heavens and the earth and everything that they contain. That He is the Rabb of you and your forefathers. That He is the Rabb of the east and the west and whatever lies in between. So now these magicians say, آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. That we now believe in this Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Musa wa Harun, the Lord of Musa and Harun. So as soon as they witnessed the miracle unfold at the hands of Musa alayhi salam with their own two eyes, while they were knowledgeable of the various tricks and methods in the sciences of magic, they knew with conviction that Musa had done was not magic or illusionary tricks. They recognized that it was the truth without any doubt whatsoever. And they knew that no one had any power to do this except for the one who says for a thing to be, and it is. So they recognized this had to be done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They recognized this had to be done by the divine being. The one who says kun fayakun. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to create something, when He wants to do something, all He has to do is give the command. He says kun bi fayakun, and it exists, and it is. So therefore when this happened, they fell down into prostration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again they said, آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. We believe in the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of Musa and Harun alayhi salam. And Ibn Abbas and Ubayd ibn Umayr radiallahu anhum, they both said, at the beginning of the day, they were magicians. And at the end of the day, they were outstanding witnesses of faith. So this is a very profound statement from these two individuals. And what they're getting at is that hidayah, guidance, is something that is unique to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change a person's heart within just a moment, within one day. That a person can wake up in the morning as a disbeliever, and something might happen throughout the day that touches their heart. And that thing causes them to change completely. They become people of faith. And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ told us as well. But he was talking about the end of times, that near the end of times there will be people who wake up in the morning as believers, but they go to sleep as disbelievers. And there's other people who wake up in the morning as disbelievers, but they go to sleep at night as believers. And that's how delicate our hearts are as human beings. That's how our emotions work. That's how things can influence us. So these individuals, they woke up in the morning as basically an army for Fir'aun. As Fir'aun's sorcerers, his magicians, they came for monetary gain. And within one moment, they became people of strong belief. And they became people of very strong belief. So much so that they were martyred because of their faith. They had to give up their lives because of what they had accepted. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma also mentioned that there were 70 men or 70 plus magicians. They woke up as magicians and they went to sleep as witnesses. And one of the Mufassirun mentioned that the affair of the magicians was extremely unique and amazing. They threw down their ropes and staffs for the sake of disbelief and falsehood. Then after an hour, they threw their foreheads on the ground for the sake of gratitude and prostration. And that is an excellent point to end at. That these people, they had thrown their staffs on the ground to challenge faith, right? To support disbelief. And at the end of the day, they ended up throwing their foreheads on the ground as a sign of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is where we will stop this week, and inshallah we will continue next week with Surah Al-Shu'ara, where we will learn what happens to the magicians because of their faith. And I'm going to hand over the mic to our dear respected Sheikh Yusuf Estes, who's going to discuss some of the important affairs that are going on.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam rasulullah. We wanted to share with everybody tonight. First of all, we thank Sheikh Farhan for his efforts and his commitment to the dawah to explain to us what Islam really is and how we understand the various surahs or chapters of the Quran. This one, I think, is chapter 26, is it?
It's chapter 26.
Yeah, lucky guess. And in here we hear about the poets. So there are many things within this surah. If you get a chance to read it, you can read it online at our, for the Arabic, the ones that are studying Arabic, any of the students of Arabic who want to learn more about Arabic language and the Quran at the same time. It's called recitequran.com. It has all the rules and tajweed as well as the understanding. You can, it's one of the most amazing websites on the internet for the Quran for learning, because it's so easy, and you can set it to where it will repeat certain things for you with different reciters. I think we have 16 different reciters, as well as a series of challenges for you, so you can test yourself to see how you're doing with the Quran. It's very beautiful. For those who just want to read it real quick, would like to have some references, maybe some different translations, this one we use allahsquran.com, ALLAHSQURAN.com. And again, the one with the instruction, with everything with it, it's an amazing website. We use it here at Guidance TV all the time. It's called recitequran.com. All right, now in the next few minutes, what I wanted to do is to let you know that we do have something very special coming up this weekend. It's just been decided today, and our board got together and they said we're going to do this across the United States here on Guidance TV. Well, first and foremost, we want to openly declare that the new headquarters and academy for learning broadcasting for Islam and Muslims is to be established right here where we're sitting right now in Tustin, California, in a place called Place of Success, or Darul Falah. Alhamdulillah. Then I get a Allahu Akbar out of that. Allahu Akbar! Okay. And along the way, we would also like to mention that our other units across the United States will be with us this coming weekend. On Saturday, we're going to be broadcasting a live awareness-raising, fundraising event to let people know what we have done to this point since 2009, and where we are and where we want to go, what we're doing right now to grow. You'll be able to see our new place that we're getting in Dallas, Texas. They're going to be there on Friday recording stuff to show us on Saturday. And then also we're going to have a chance to see what's going on in Ohio, the place that we were just before we came over here, and our studios there, and our new studios that are just really kicking off in Minneapolis, Minnesota area. And you'll have a good chance to see inside of our studios the equipment that we're working with and what we have and what we need, so that you can tell your friends how they can get big reward. Like, for instance, I'd like to share with you that every place that we go, whether it's a school, whether it's a masjid, it's a university or academy, all of them, when they do fundraising, we would like for Guidance TV to at least acknowledge what they're doing and tell people, so that people will know how to do that, how to support it, how to help them. Let's take now for an example. Suppose I'd like to get some reward for a masjid. I'd like that. Oh, I'd love that. Maybe someone in my family passed away and I'd like to make a donation on their behalf. By the way, you don't lose anything when you do something for somebody else. It just means you get the reward and they get the reward too. Don't ever think you lost anything because you did something and ask Allah to accept. For instance, you do Umrah or something for some relative, you say, I'd like for this person to have this reward. It doesn't mean you lost it. So the same thing is true. If you'd like to do something like Sadaqah Jariyah on behalf of your mother or an auntie or your grandparents or anything like this, and then you would like for them to have the reward of something in a masjid, suppose. But you don't have $5 million to donate for a masjid. You wish you did. And they say, well, you can donate for the carpet, which is only going to be $30,000. And you said, 30,000. I was thinking more like $30 a month, you know. Well, every masjid and every school appreciates whenever you do something monthly. If that's what you can do, it's highly appreciated in Islam. And I've seen them offer something as small as a brick or even a tile, but it will have the name of the family who is being remembered for that. And then they'll place that up somewhere so people can see that. And you might be surprised, $10, $15, $20, what that little bit per month can be a huge reward on that Day of Judgment. So don't ever put down the idea of something being too small to donate. Our Prophet ﷺ, he was talking about a date seed. He wasn't talking about the date. You know, a date is, today is kind of cheap. I don't know. What's a date cost? If you want to buy one.
$1.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, okay, less than $1.
Yeah, you get a whole box of them for $40, don't you? Or $50.
50 cents for one? 25?
Maybe like 10 cents or 15 cents. What do you think? Does that sound better?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Depends on the type of date.
But he wasn't talking about the date anyway. He was talking about the seed inside of it. Now, wait a minute. And he wasn't really talking about the seed. There's a hairline little piece of something that lays on top of the seed where the split is. Have you ever seen it? You kind of pull it off and play with it or throw it away, right? He said if you donate that, you still get a reward for this. SubhanAllah. And if it's all you have and you wanted to eat that, and I don't know who would, but if you wanted to eat that but you gave it to somebody else to eat, and I don't know why you would, but you would get a reward. Now I don't want to make fun of the charity that we're talking about, but anything you do in the sight of Almighty God, first of all, is appreciated according to the sincerity. The second of all is it's rewarded according to the sacrifice. So if somebody is really sincere and he gave from his heart and he did as much as he could do without putting his family in jeopardy, you have to remember that. Then you'll be surprised what Allah will give them on the Day of Judgment. Now, whenever we have our live programs like we had here tonight for you, we want to emphasize the importance of you letting other people know about it. So every Wednesday night, now I'm going to have to correct this right after I say it, but every Wednesday night, starting tonight and going to next week, every Wednesday night between now and next week, Sheikh Farhan is going to be with us talking about the tafsir of the Quran. And if you said, Sheikh Yusuf, you said that wrong. No, wait a minute. Every Wednesday night between now and next Wednesday, he will be live on Guidance TV, inshallah, God willing. Because the week after that, he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone for 3 consecutive Wednesdays. And then he'll be back, inshallah. But he's sitting right next to me. Let me look at, can you pull your kufi off, please? Yeah. See that hair right there? Well, look at it really good, because when he comes back, it's going to be gone. Why? Can you tell us why, sir? What's going to happen when you go over there?
I'm going to be going for Hajj, inshallah.
Hajj?
Inshallah.
Where's the mic? What do we do with the mic? Did we drop it? Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Were we using this mic built in? Were we using this one? Or this one? Are you happy? Let's show you the guy with the count right there. See this guy? So this is our first of a series that we want you to be able to see, watch, and be a part of. And you share that, tell other people on the Facebook, on the Twitter, and so on, to join us right here on Guidus TV. Now, we have, how long before we have our Adhan? Anybody know? About another 20 minutes or something, isn't it? Yeah, we got a couple more minutes here. I'm just going to share with you guys a story that we just heard, and then you'll see why it's so critical for us to have our live broadcast on Saturday. We've had, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, an actual bomb attack exploded in the masjid, in the office of the imam, between the Adhan of Fajr and the Iqamah of Fajr. Meaning, early in the morning, after the Muslim called to the prayer, someone stopped a truck outside of the mosque and threw a bomb through the window. The bomb was on fire when it went through and set fire to the draperies. It was raging fire already. One of the young brothers came running in and he said, I saw this truck and a guy got out and he threw this big thing through the window and then smoke and fire was coming from it. Can you guys go with me then and see? He didn't want to go by himself. So they all jumped out there and ran back, and right at that time there was a blast. That blast blew out parts of the wall. There was shrapnel in there, and this went partly into the wall. Had there been anybody just on the other side where the children usually are, where the women usually are, they would have been hit, maybe even killed by that. Now, did this happen 10 seconds ago? No. Did it happen yesterday? No. It happened a couple of days ago. It was on Facebook because some of the brothers put it on Facebook. Fox Network? Cricket, cricket, cricket. CNN? Cricket, cricket. Where was the news? Oh, that's right. I remember now. There was something about that. I think it was today, wasn't it? Yeah, an aide to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, said officially that it was fake news until you can prove it. Huh? What is it? It's called fake news until you can prove it. Brothers and sisters, if this is the attitude of the President of the United States to something that's affecting a religious establishment with human beings standing there praying to Almighty God, the same God the Jews pray to, the same God that the Christians pray to, the same exact philosophy and understanding of the very earliest of the monotheists. If the attitude is, it's fake news until you can prove it, that's strange. Because it's the opposite of what happens in the news. When any Muslim is involved in anything, he's guilty until he can prove his innocence. Is that true or false? Oh, you forgot? Let me remind you. Because right at the headquarters of Guidus TV, at the University of Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, while we were in Australia, there was the incident of a young man who was enrolled in the university. His car that he was driving to the university jumps the curb and hit 2 or 3 bystanders. As he gets out, suddenly, watch this, suddenly on the scene already is the folks who are wear the garb and the bulletproof stuff and the machine guns and what do you call these guys? SWAT. SWAT. Yeah. SWAT team and they blow him away. They killed him. Then the story is that he had something in his hand. Some said it was a sword. Maybe somebody keeps a sword in the front seat of their car, I don't know. Some said it was a butcher knife. Some said it was a machete. Some said it looked more like a car tool, like when you have a car problem and you have to take the tire off, tire tool.
A wrench.
A wrench. The long one with the socket thing on it, right? But we'll never know what he had because all of it has to be swept away real quick, and he's not there to tell his side of the story, is he? Immediately, now listen to this. So he's guilty because he's a Muslim. We know that. Immediately from Canada, there's a lady on the scene in front of a mosque there. The mosque that Gaius T goes to regularly. Imam Horsid is there. And she is trying to get a story, but when she wants to go in there praying, and we can't even talk to our own grandmother, we can't even answer the phone while we're praying. And so she comes out in front of the mosque, and I saw it on the YouTube, and she was saying that, well, we tried to get a story out of these people, but they refused to speak to us. Well, isn't that right? We refuse to speak to each other if we're praying. Hello? And then she goes on to say that she's not going to connect the dots. And she proceeds to connect the dots by saying that, well, here's a mosque, and there's a university. And it was a Muslim who did it, so obviously he must come here, right? And on her own, she said he's a regular member there. The funny part about it was that I asked the Imam and others, and they said, actually, we've never seen him ever, not even once. But if he comes, and by the way, we have 2 sermons on Friday there. There's too many people. This is the biggest masjid there in Columbus, but still not big enough to handle 3,000 or 4,000 people. Now, I challenge you that you're going to pick one person out of 3,000 in a semi-dark room. It's not going to happen, and you know that. But they said, as far as they know, he'd never been in a building. And by the way, what does it take to be a member of a mosque? Nothing. You go in, you pray, you leave. We don't have a sign-up sheet. We're not. The Christians, they have that. You have to join, and then you give so much money every week, and blah 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 blah. We don't have that. Sometimes I wish we did have something where we could get the Muslims to donate regularly, but that's another story. What I'm getting at, though, is that here's a story that all of a sudden, not only they're with no judge, no jury, trial by media. He's guilty. We have evidence. What's the evidence? The evidence is those people, they said it. Oh, that's all you need is some people to just say something? And that's it. Okay, he's dead, so it doesn't really, from his point of view, I guess it doesn't matter to him. But then to go to the mosque and try to implicate 3,000 more people in this and imply that this imam is encouraging people to do things like this. And she's from Canada. She never heard this imam speak. She doesn't know anything about him, but she wants to slander him right away. The good news is, and let's be fair, most of the media people don't accept that paper that she works for. Most of them don't accept anything from them because they are guilty, according to them, guilty of some exaggerated news. But I still keep going back to, what do you say when the representative of the President of the United States comes with a statement that until you can prove it, it's fake news? Until you can prove it, it's fake news. Your battery's switched on. You do your battery thing. You can turn it off because I'm using the computer here anyway. Anyhow, so the most important part of what we're getting at is I want you guys to know that we do have this weekend a live broadcast for 4 straight hours. I don't want you to miss a single second of it. 4 straight hours. If you're in the Pacific time zone, it's going to be 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And if you're out in the East Coast, it'll go all the way up until 1 o'clock in the morning. It's going to start at 9 to 1, and so on. And you can do the math for the other time zones. Sound fair? All right. What's going to happen? We're going to start on the East Coast, and we're going to work our way across. We're going to be talking with our brothers, inshallah, in Ohio, and in Tennessee, and in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The brothers we were just talking about that experienced that bomb blast. And they're going to talk about what really happened there. So if you want to get the real news, the place to come, for the Muslims anyway, come to Guidance TV. Then we're going to be talking down to the folks in Texas, Dallas, and Fort Worth, and find out what's going down there. Something big is about to happen over there. You don't want to miss that. And we've got pictures of that coming. Then we'll work our way across over here to Tustin, Darul Falah. I don't want you to miss this. We've got something very super that we want you to know and see and be a part of. All the way along, you're going to have a chance to join us with your little date seed or whatever you want to donate so that you can get the reward and help us go and grow. There's some little things that we need. Something even smaller than this microphone and something bigger than this whole area right in here. Whatever you are capable of doing, if you want to show up and help us build, we need builders. If you want to show us, come out and help us make some of our programs, that's open as well. And then let's don't forget that we need folks on the internet who know how to do social media. So all of that and more this weekend. Don't miss it. Tell everybody about it. Watch our page on Facebook, which is Guide Us TV 1, I think is what we use, that one. Guide Us TV 1 or Yusuf Estes. You can look up on those. There are some fake Yusuf Estes accounts on there, by the way. Be careful. If anybody asks you for money for themselves, it's not us. So we want to mention that. All right. Stay tuned to Guide Us TV and stay guided. Until next time, for all of us here, peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. منتديات الحور العين الإسلامية. يسر إخوانكم في منتديات الحور العين الإسلامية أن يقدموا لكم هذه المادة.
شو اسمك؟
وهمة.
كم عمرك؟
2.
كيف حالك؟
هنا.
ما تحية الإسلام؟
سياكم.
من ربك؟
الله.
أين الله؟
سماء.
من نبيك؟
محمد.
أين ولد الرسول؟
مكة.
إلى أين هاجر الرسول؟